Good afternoon, tubers. It is a lovely Monday morning. Temperature, I'd say, is about right. Probably about 75-ish, maybe 80 in some parts, but it's perfect here in the garage. We got some stuff to do on the old Honda here. I'm sure nobody's gonna watch this video. So what are we doing? Well, as you know, we done the rear brakes on the Honda, put new shoes on, which I was able to get away with just doing that. But the front end needs attention, and it needs brakes as well, but it also needs wheel bearings. Now on this thing, when you buy replacement parts or replacement bearings for the front, they only sell them with either just, you can get the bearing, which then you got to press the hub in, but you got to press your old hub out of the old bearing. I don't feel like dealing with that because I just want to get this done. I'm hoping that this isn't biting me in the ass, but I purchased a set of wheel bearing hub assemblies, and these came as a pair. Came with the hub and the bearing and a new nut for the CV shaft, which is perfect because the ones that are on here have been used a couple of times and they're a bit chowdered up. Shit. Speaking of chowdered up, I got two new bearings. I've already checked these out when they came in, and these are perfect. You know, if it didn't need new brakes, that'd be great, but whatever. Anyways, so this car is a captive rotor design, so your rotor bolts onto the back here, and then of course, you know, your wheel goes into here. Yeah, these are nice. I got this as a pair. I think this was 140 bucks. Brand new bearings. These are nice and tight. I feel like they're turning in lukewarm honey. It feels really good. I like it. We got new nuts. So that's that. The brakes. I also ordered a brake kit. Just an OEM replacement rotors, and it comes with pads. That will be here tomorrow, but for right now, since I have another vehicle I can drive if I need to go anywhere, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to start tearing apart the front suspension. Before we go too far, this wheel wasn't too bad. A little bit up and down. A little bit up and down. I didn't pump up the compressor too much, so. There's actually quite a bit of brake pad material here, but it's just with these things being warped and stuff, and it's not the drums. I don't think the drums are warped. All this, the vibration I feel in the steering wheel. So that right there is a problem. So really all we have to do is we gotta get this caliper off here. We're gonna take the bracket off, and then we're gonna pop the hood. We're gonna drop this this upper control arm, only because last time I tried this, I could probably try it again. Maybe try whacking this. If we can get this to separate from this, that would be great. So nope. Don't tell me it went to standard, because the 17 was real loose. Well, it's tightening it. Okay. It's like 11/16 fit better. Look at that. So what we're gonna do next, should probably get this brake caliper. Since this is free, I'm actually gonna put this back in just for temporary purposes. Oh yeah, dealing with that is way easier than the other method that I tried. Alright, we're gonna keep that like that. Appears to be a 36 millimeter. I can tell we're low on air. I thought it was it a 12 for this? Yeah. And then I'm gonna put this screw right back in where it came from. At this point, it's technically a bolt. Let's finally put 2 bolts right on this. Where's my 17? I think this is a 17. Yep, and we're gonna just snaps the bolt right off in the caliper. You're like, oh. That must have been me that put those on. Got a little container here. I'm just gonna put these slide pins in. They're not bad. I'll brake clean them real good and clean it all good. And I'll have to get my I gotta get my whatchamacallit, C-clamp. And I gotta find my C-clamp because we're gonna need to squeeze this shut. Ugh. I don't know. They're probably alright. They're not heat cracked or anything, but they look like they wear like iron and stop like shit, which in this case, my truck stops better than this thing. A lot of meat. That's unfortunate. This was like 2 years ago we did these brakes, and they're still almost brand new. I don't mean brand new. Someone's gonna yell at me. It's like, shut up. Okay, so wear indicator goes on the inside. Normal one goes on the outside. Got new pads and rotors coming. We'll set those aside and not get them too dirty. Yep. Of course. One time I don't use the hammer. I don't feel like losing brake hardware. Just put everything back. So now, do I have a bad CV boot? It's all, not really. Okay, so now you can move that around and you can actually get in there with a socket. So I got my, where's my snap on? Let's see, what are we, 14 millimeter? Now, 12. Yep. Yeah, you have to get the CV shaft out of the way or else one of the bolts is really difficult to get to. Alright, she's ready to go. Not bad, huh? So I'm gonna go ahead and tear this side apart. It's the same deal for both sides. I don't think this one's gonna be that bad because it was apart before. But I'll show you. This is what I got. Now when I checked around, I didn't see any play coming from any of the ball joints or tie rod ends. I can feel a little bit here. Chunk. And there's a lot here on this. I mean, that's that little bit of play can really throw your steering off. You know, it's a little wandery, but yeah, hasn't gotten worse, hasn't gotten better. So, anyways, we got new bearings, so we're gonna put them in, and then we'll have new brakes. Oh, there's one honky cramp right there on the bench. Hey, you guys, when you're working outside and it's kind of warm or hot, or really when you're just working on stuff out in the garage, stay hydrated. Drink water. Somebody's got to take a shit. I love people driving Vernonia, like, just drive real fast. So with this CV shaft pulled back and this pulled forward, you have clear access to all the hub bolts. This thing's ready to come out of here. Out, and then watch. This has already been out before. Boom. They definitely don't feel as tight as they should be, but what are you gonna do? Alright, let's go to the healing bench. So here we have both brake rotor and wheel hub assemblies. Yeah, not too bad. They're kind of gross. I don't like the way they're wearing in. Looks like it's gotten hot right along in here, especially this side starting to blue, so it's getting hot. Got everything. This is passenger, this is driver. You know, you can actually, it's not a lot of play, but once you actually get the tire on there, ends up being a lot of play, and it does make the steering feel a little goofy. You even got a, these aren't that old. Crappy materials. I could have had these turned, but what ends up happening when you get these turned, it may take the warp out. That's the problem with these, is that they're warped. So what may happen is that you get the warping out after you turn them, and then after a while what ends up happening is that the warping comes back. I think it's just an inconsistency in the metal. These are crappy ones. We'll see how decent the ones that I get. They're not They're not the O'Reilly's brand, that's for sure. We have a metric kit that is just missing the 19. 14. 14 it is. We're gonna Loctite those in. So then this bearing sneaks out there. I wish they would have made it where it was the other way around. But no, why would they? Nope, they're like, hey, you know what? This is stupid. So now we'll have, I don't think there's a left or right. I think they're just the same deal, but also a good idea to check your hubs and make sure that they're the same, and these are. Yep, they're the same. So tomorrow we get our new stuff. So I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. So there we go. See you tomorrow. Hey there.
One project after another, huh?
Yeah.
This one must be brakes.
Yep. Brakes and wheel bearings.
Hey,
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Well, I went back and looked at my YouTube video that I've already started editing or making for this. So the beginning of this video, what you're watching here, is the pin, the guide pin with this rubber tip goes at the very top. So this is the driver's side caliper. It's going to go in like that, and then this one goes at the top. So, and it looks like it was like that for the other side too. So the one with the rubber tip goes on the top. Ugh. Some pretty lackluster tape there. It's another eBay special. A lot of the stuff that I've been buying for this thing, I've been getting off of eBay. I bought the card cheap. I've been fixing it for cheap. Brake pads, nice. Nakamoto. The packaging on this looks pretty decent. I feel like I bought a quality part. Oh, look at that. Packing slip. Let's see, put that thing in the jigs. Ho, 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 ho. I don't even know what I paid for this. I totally forgot. Look at that. Those are some nice brake rotors. Nice. I think I did okay on this. I like the packaging. The packaging feels a better quality than you know, like what you get from the box stores. Set this right here. Take a drink of our coffee here. Got a little bit of dirt in there, but all right, that's fine. So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna take me a paper towel. I'm just gonna wipe this off. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go ahead and assemble this cocksucker. And then the same thing with this, I'm just gonna clean the backside off just to make sure we don't have any particles, big particles. Gotta go in one way or another. So I gotta get a rubber mallet and just send it in. I'm just gonna snug these up, and then when we get it on the car, we'll do a star pattern torque down. So 14 millimeter on these. Again, just making sure that we have two clean mating surfaces. You know, that went in there. I think we just had a little bit more casting on the other side. Just by eyeballing, it looks pretty decent. Not too worried about that. I think these were organic, or were they? I think these are the organic ones, or ceramic. I don't. You know what? I really don't know anymore. The old ones that were on there, select ceramic. And it doesn't come with new brake hardware, so we'll just have to reuse our old stuff, which was actually replaced when I did these pads. Yeah, so there's a driver and a passenger side. We got that. Alright guys, enough bullshitting. It's time to get the Cosmoline off these and Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here you're watching me compress the brake caliper by using an old brake pad and just a big thing at the vice grip channel lock thingamajiggers. I normally use a big C-clamp for this, but of course my C-clamp is gone. Don't know where it went. Oh well, I have this other one and it actually worked pretty good on these calipers. Also keep in mind, I cracked the bleeder screws open and then hooked up my little catch bottle dealio thing, and it kept it from making a big mess all over the driveway of the place that I'm renting. So if you got to do this, I recommend you make a little bottle. You can make it out of a water bottle. Get a little piece of hose, poke a little hole in the bottle on the lid, run your hose in there, and then you can connect it to your bleeder screw and you can catch brake fluid and not make a mess. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna snug up these 4 bolts that hold the caliper onto the deal here. Just snug it real good. Right and a half. Should be good. We're gonna leave the wheels off. So I'm gonna flush the brakes out. So we have fresh fluid. Alright, go to the other side. Don't forget, guys, you want to torque down your axle nut. We're gonna go, I don't know, 3 or 4 ooga doogas. Oh yeah, don't forget that upper ball joint nut. Just snug it down, throw a cotter pin back in, send it home. Alright guys, ready for some more road noise? I am. Rule of thumb, when I bleed brakes out, or if I'm going to flush the brake system, I start with the wheel farthest away from the brake cylinder, which would be the passenger rear. When I did the rear shoes on that side, I flushed it out by doing that method, going to that one side, and then I started over here. The rear of the car is flushed out, it's got fresh brake fluid. Now I'm focusing on the front. So I made this little catch can thing. This is one of my favorite tools for brake stuff, is this, because I can hook up a little piece of hose to the bleeder and I can pump the brakes by myself with this. Once you get fluid in here and you have no air intrusion, you can flush the brakes out yourself and then tighten it up and have good brakes. That's how I do it. So anyways, I've already started on the front passenger. That's good. And now I'm working on this side. Now before I began all this, I did pump up the brakes just to close the gap between, well, after putting all this back together, closes the gap so these are all touching. and then I start bleeding it out. And that way I can check if I have a good brake pedal or not. And so far the brake pedal is pretty tight, so with the car off. I haven't checked it with it on. We'll do that here in a moment. This has got the factory brake calipers with the original bleeder screws. I've been able to break every single one of them free, not off. 10 mil for the front, and I think it was a 5/16 for the back if you're going to be doing that at the same time. So I just open this up a little bit, and this seems to be gravity bleeding, so I'm just going to let that go. And I'm just keeping the master cylinder topped off. And I'm in no hurry. I'm taking my time. I'm just letting it gravity bleed, and I'll give it one little pump at the end there to flush anything else out, and then close her up and call it a day. So we're almost done. I'm just going to let this cycle out the brake fluid to get some fresh stuff through the lines and clear out any debris that might be in the system. And then, yeah, be a happy car. Here are all the tools that I've used so far. You know, I have this 10 mil standard hammer. Oh yeah, I got to tighten these screws down. I can't forget that. I use this to hold the caliper, or the rotor. Chisel, 12 millimeter wrench, big ratchet with a 14 on it, some side cutters, long snap-on ratchet with a, what was this, a 12? Yep. 17 mil, big old pair of channel vice grip thingamajigs, and I used old brake pads to compress the calipers with. And then these Tupperware bins are nice to have. And then of course this stuff, if I haven't mentioned it already. And then we got our big gun and a 36 millimeter socket for the axle nut, which I've already tightened down. While this is flushing on, I'm going to tighten these down. We got to go the opposite way with this. Snug. There. Those are all the tools that you need for this job. Yeah. Brake pedals firms up just as you touch it, and then won't go any further when you get about just before halfway. I'd say that's pretty good. She firms up real good. Make sure you clean around this cap. This was pretty grimy when I first messed with the brakes. So we got mostly fresh fluid in here. I'm working on getting one of those vacuum or air-powered fluid extractors, because what I want to do is be able to suck all this fluid out, put fresh in, and then go around to all the wheels and hook a hose up to the bleeders and just suck brake fluid through and get it all nice and clean. But this stuff hasn't been coming out rusty or anything. It's all been just kind of darkish looking, but not rusty or nasty or anything too bad. It's all good now. So hey, while you're messing with your car, top off your other fluids. Let's see, we've tightened all this down. We've tightened this down and kinked over the thing. These are all torqued down. This is snug. That's torqued down. These are all snugged up. In upcoming videos on this thing, I'm going to look at replacing this upper control arm, probably the lower control arm and ball joint. These guys up here I'm going to replace with adjustable camber caster bushings, just so that when I go to get an alignment done, they'll be able to align everything a little bit more than you can now. Right now the only thing you can adjust is just toe. Yeah, that's really all you can adjust is just toe. And then I'm gonna get new bushings for the strut rods I already talked about the lower control arms, new tie rod ends. New tie rod ends, inner tie rod ends. It'll get new boots. That boot's all torn up. Sway bar bushings and links. I think I'm gonna do that next. The control arm stuff's not bad. They're still okay, but I would like to rejuvenate them at some point. I know these upper control arms need to get replaced. That one was okay. Just the boots all ripped. But on this side, I don't know if I showed you, but this ball joint here is just about at its end of life. So yeah, I'd like to just rejuvenate the front suspension, and then I'm gonna get some aftermarket stuff for the back to spiffy it up and also make the camber and caster adjustable. So yeah, it's just some stuff I got planned for the next few months with this thing. I just want to spiffy her up. Anyways, I'm gonna put the wheels back on and give her a test drive. Alright, that's enough of that crap. Took the car out for a test drive. The brakes are working a little bit better. They haven't fully seated in yet. They have to break in over a certain period of time, and then they'll be rock solid. But they don't shake anymore. They're working a little bit better. And also having tight wheel bearings eliminated a little bit of wanderiness that I had in my steering. But in the meantime, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.